All right, let's just jump right in. We usually think of obstacles as things we have to get around or just push through. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? Today, we're looking at a pretty radical idea from the Tiantai school of Buddhism. And the idea is this: your challenges aren't in the way, they are the way.
So this is the big question we're going to unpack. The Tiantai masters suggested that the very things we struggle with, our anxiety, our sickness, our deepest fears, they are just roadblocks. They are the actual raw material for deep, profound insight. It's a complete flip of how we normally look at our problems.
So where does a journey like this even start? Well, not with a fight, but with something more like a quiet, inner conversation. The Tiantai tradition has this beautiful name for it: responsive invocation. It's this idea that our own potential for waking up can actually call out to wisdom, and wisdom responds.
And this concept, Ganyang in Chinese, it describes this really dynamic relationship. It's not about just sitting around and waiting for lightning to strike. It's a genuine call and response. Our inner potential, that little spark of readiness to grow, that's the call. And wisdom's active, engaged answer to that call, well, that's the response.
And this chart just lays it out so perfectly, showing how subtle this whole interaction is. Our potential might be just a tiny inner stirring, right? Or a feeling of connection that needs compassion. Or maybe it's a specific readiness for a particular insight. And the response from wisdom isn't some generic one-size-fits-all answer. It attends to that specific stirring. It matches the need exactly, like a key fitting a lock. It gives the exact right teaching for that moment of readiness. It's a totally personal, dynamic dance.
Okay, so you start this inner work. What happens next? Well, the first thing you're probably going to run into is what the tradition calls the realm of afflictions. And we're not talking about small annoyances. We're talking about our deepest, most ingrained patterns: greed, anger, confusion, that suddenly just flare up.
I absolutely love this metaphor from the texts. It's so perfect. Our habits, our conditioning, they're like raw, unrefined iron ore, just sitting there, dark and dormant. The practice of contemplation? That's the fire. And the fire doesn't magically make all the junk disappear. No, it heats things up, bringing all those impurities right to the surface so you can finally see them and actually work with them. Here's another way to picture it. Imagine your mind as a glass of water that's been sitting perfectly still for a long time. All the gunk, your habits, your old beliefs, your unresolved stuff, it's all settled down at the bottom. The water looks totally clear, but that sediment is still there, just hiding. So what's contemplation in this picture? Well, it's you intentionally sticking a spoon in and stirring that water up. You're not just making a mess for the sake of it. You're deliberately agitating the system because you want to see what's really in there.
And what happens when you stir? Of course, the sediment rises. Suddenly the water is murky and cloudy. You can finally see the anger, the greed, the confusion that was invisible a minute ago. Now, from the Tiantai point of view, this isn't a failure. This is a huge success. You've made the invisible visible. Now you've got something to work with.
But these obstacles, they don't just live in the mind. The Tiantai tradition also looks right at the realm of physical illness. They didn't see sickness as just some random biological problem you need to fix and forget about. For them, it was another powerful field for practice. It was the body speaking, communicating imbalances that we can actually listen to and work with.
And get this, they came up with these incredibly practical methods, like the 6 healing breaths you see here. The basic idea was that our bodies hold on to our mental and emotional junk. So by making specific sounds as you exhale, they believed you could create a vibration that would resonate with and help to rebalance a specific organ system. It's this amazing example of seeing the body not as a problem, but as a system you can actively tune using your own breath as the instrument. Now we're going even deeper into what are called the realms of karma and demons. But hold on, these are not external monsters hiding under the bed. In this way of thinking, they are powerful symbols, personifications of the echoes of our past actions and our most fundamental, deep-seated psychological fears. I mean, just take a look at this list of Mara's so-called armies. Do these look like external demons to you? Or do they look like a pretty accurate map of the human mind on a tough day? Desire, sorrow, fear, craving, arrogance. These are the demons we all wrestle with. Calling them armies is just a way to acknowledge how powerful they can feel and what a real challenge they can be to our sense of peace. So we've faced the inner storm of afflictions, we've listened to the body, and we've met these so-called inner demons. And now we get to the great reversal, the huge plot twist that's right at the heart of this entire philosophy.
This is where everything gets turned completely on its head.
Okay, so the conventional way we think about a spiritual path often looks like this. The problem is our afflictions, our messy, painful, negative states of mind. They're the bad guys. They're the enemy.
And the goal, then, is obviously to get rid of all that messy stuff and achieve some pure, perfect, separate state called enlightenment. The problem is here, and the solution is way, way over there, a huge gap in between.
But the Tiantai insight, it's breathtaking. It just completely collapses that distance. It says, affliction is enlightenment. The problem isn't separate from the solution. The very energy, the very substance of your struggles, when you see it with clear awareness, is the substance of wisdom itself.
And this, right here, is the absolute key. The path isn't about getting rid of the darkness. It's about learning how to see in the dark, to look directly at your anger, your fear, your confusion, without judging it, to just understand its nature. That very act of seeing, that is the great light of wisdom. The obstacle isn't blocking the path. Looking at the obstacle is the path.
And that really leaves us with a powerful question to take with us, right? What challenge, what inner demon in your own life, of sorrow or fear or craving, could you start to see differently? What if, instead of being your enemy, it was actually your greatest teacher, just waiting for you to turn around and really listen?